This happens periodically. Last time it happened was 2 years ago. This one happened, as I understand, maybe Hawkins can tell me, I understand it was about 2 in the morning, the pole down there that was knocked out. This guy was pretty good. He knocked out the pole, and the pole just sat down, and he took off. 2 years ago, the guy was rounding the corner, knocked the pole over, and it was on the top of his truck, so he couldn't leave. That time, Officer Massey was there from about 8 o'clock at night until 7 o'clock the next morning, because they couldn't move the truck until they got this big rig in to pull it up and hold it off the truck, and they got the truck out of the way, then they had to dig a hole, and they had to bring a new pole in, and it went on until 7 o'clock in the morning. I know when Valentine is redone completely, this shouldn't be a problem, but I was just wondering, Clint, you and I go back quite a ways, as I recall when we annexed that down there, from Roy to County Line Road was split right down the center, east to west, and the south half on Roy was to be Office Park. The north half on County Line was to be, other way around. South half was light industry. North half on County Line Road was to be Office Park, whatever that meant. And one of the reasons being, right across the street are houses. And they didn't want the noise of some industry creating noise there, and they didn't want, as I recall, large trucks going down that street because it makes a lot of noise and because kids play on it, and because the street was never built with the idea it was going to have 18-wheelers on it. So what I am curious about is when George Humphreys built the warehouses just west of me, I know that he was concerned about large trucks because he tried to get me okay up that he could go in behind my greenhouses to his place. That way he would be coming off Valentine and going into his property. He wouldn't have to worry about County Line Road. Well, I don't know how or what the city agreed to, but there have been 18-wheelers up and down County Line Road for years now, ever since Humphreys built those structures. And what I'd like to know is really what is the official designation for County Line Road. I know there's a great big sign out there and it says certain regulation, except for local deliveries. Well, that kind of ruins the whole thing. I'd be interested if anyone has any information on this, because I really feel that we should not have 18-wheelers on County Line Road. Thank you.
Thank you. So can we get the Public Works Department, could you look into this and get answer some of those questions for me, and then if you need to refer any of this to the Public Works? Thank you, I appreciate that. Thank you. Is there anyone else that has anything that they'd like to bring forward? Is it for public comment? Okay, moving on to reports. We'll start with the mayor's report. I'm sure most of you had an opportunity to go down to the park this weekend. I think Pacific Days was a huge success. And I would like to, unfortunately none of them are here, but I'd really like to give, a big round of applause to Pacific Partnership for all that they did as far as putting this on and organizing it. They really did a lot of work, outdid themselves this year, did a great job. So I'd like to give them a round of applause. I want to bring partnerships in here and officially recognize them for all the work that they did with that. Also like to thank the police department, police explorers, as well as Valley Regional Fire Authority for everything that they had contributed. And also thank Councilmember Garberdine for getting the 2 strikers, the 2 Hummers, and the Army marching band in our parade. I don't ever remember us having a band in our parade. I heard we had them in the past, and so I don't remember having it, and kudos to you for getting that done. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. It was a huge hit. There was a lot of comments about that. I'm sure most of you noticed when you came in here, there's this big green box sitting in the hallway. If you were down at the park this weekend, you would know that is referred to as the public square. I spent my weekend, Saturday and Sunday, sitting with that box and encouraging members of our community to come to the public hearing that will be Wednesday night at 7 o'clock and share their feelings about allowing marijuana in the city of Pacific. And you can read, we got quite a few comments. The biggest thing we want to do is, I had mentioned before, I wanted to do all outreach as possible to get out and as reach many members of our community as I could, have them come in and weigh in on this issue. There's a little bit of confusion about why we're having a public hearing before a planning commission makes the recommendations, and the whole thing started out, I wanted to have a town hall meeting and take in public comments. And then the city attorney advised me that maybe we should go ahead and make it a public hearing, and just simply because we'll be able to record all comment and make it a matter of record, so that moving forward, we have that as documentation on whatever the city decides to do moving forward. So that's why it's a public hearing. We're not trying to supersede planning commission and their recommendations. The whole point of this is to aid both council and the planning commission on their decisions, the ordinances that they're considering and looking at. The ordinances that we'll be talking about on Wednesday night are under review. They're not necessarily recommended from the planning commission, and it's going to help them because the planning commission too will be having a public hearing regarding these ordinances. And I just thought it'd be very helpful for everybody if we got as much input as possible before decisions, some hard decisions, are going to be made.
Could you make a clarification as to who authored the 3 ordinances that are on the city's website?
Those were done by our city attorney.
Okay. At your request?
At my request.
Thank you.
Well, and planning commission actually had 2 of them were supposed to, had asked staff to move 2 ordinances forward, my understanding. But anyway, those are the 3 ordinances that will be discussed and talked about at the public hearing on Wednesday. I encourage everybody to come. I'm sure hoping that most of the council, all of council could be there to attend. I think it's really important to hear what people in our community have to say and get a strong feeling of what the vibe is in our community. I'm hearing a lot of comments, and I think it's really important that council hears those comments as well. So I hope to see everybody there, 7 o'clock, Pacific Gym. We'll be in there. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. And that is my report, so we'll move on to finance. Councilmember Case.
Just so it's known, I won't be able to attend because I'm working and I can't get it.
Sorry, I know we had a hard time scheduling on the agenda. Thank you very much for reminding me.
Actually, this is the administrator report. We'll change that. But big difference, right?
That's the correct week.
We have, it wasn't for that. So, we received, going into last week, I think we had 1 resume for community development manager and a couple for public works manager. So, we got a bunch of really good ones in this week, last week. So, we have a few really good looking ones. And we've spoken with the mayor, and we're going to target early August for interviewing the desired candidates, and hopeful to hire by mid-month of August. We're starting the office assistant on Wednesday. We're all very excited about that, as we have a ton of filing to get done. The other positions that we're looking at, we're still deciding on how we're going to do that, and we'll get back to council as soon as we come to some kind of consensus. Financial reports for the second quarter are going to be released tomorrow night in the finance committee meeting. I completed them last week. The numbers are looking in line with where I thought they would be in budget, so I'm pleased by that. I'm also very pleased by the fact that it took me about 2 hours to do it versus 1 week when we just had Springbrook. So think of the savings of the time, it was amazing. And staff was involved in helping, so it made a great process. We're hopeful to have 3 or 4 options for you to look at next week regarding capital maintenance or upgrades to City Hall. We're not sure how much we'll have in the way of dollars. We're going to try and have a round figure for each one, just to give you an idea, but they won't be totally tied out until maybe August as far as coming up with good numbers. We did meet with KPG. They sent over some of their employees that had to do with architecture, structural design. They were interested in talking to us about City Hall, and me and Ken and Jim Morgan met with them on Friday. It was an interesting meeting too. They're going to get us some information that can help us in presenting to council something that was, viable. I think the important point of looking at it start and that on the workshop is the functionality. Cost is always going to be important, but we'd like to look at functionality too. Which one functionally will be the best and last the longest? So we'll get the conversation going at the next meeting, and with council's direction, we can move on from there. And finally, staff is looking at compiling a comprehensive list of housekeeping amendments to PMC, to the Pacific Municipal Code, with our city attorney. So I know that the governance committee has some changes they want to make. We're going to try and incorporate that at one time later in the year with the attorney's blessing, so that she's kind of working on an overall code for the city upgrade to our code. We want to implement this all at one time, so we don't kind of like nickel and dime ourselves with little things throughout the year. So if you have anything you want to come to that, just, come through myself or Leanne, and we'll put it together so it'll be added in. And then later in the year, I don't know what date yet, but we'll definitely get to it this year, so it's all addressed. Is there any questions? I'm going to open the window, is that okay? It's hot in here. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Next item, Court.
June month-end stats are with your packet.
Any questions, council, regarding the statistics? Thank you, Kelly. Okay, public safety. Of course, gotta get a motorcycle once we're
Thank you. I put a fireworks report in front of you and asked the audience. So it was relatively about the same as last year, actually. And I didn't get the reports from citizens. Bill, what's your opinion? Your opinion on the fireworks?
Talking to you, who are you addressing?
Yeah.
What was the question? The fireworks, what about the fireworks?
Yeah,
It's about the same as it was last year, and it's the same place as every year. You can drive around the day after and see the garbage in the street. It's the same locations all the time. I really don't know what to tell you. Well, you know what my opinion is, but I can't do it verbally. But, no, I was not too happy with it overall. I think we need a little more enforcement.
we had as many personnel assigned as we could. So I know it gets to be disgusting. As long as we allow any fireworks, we're going to have this problem.
So I have a question. With the Valley Regional Fire Authority, they were going around. Were they calling the police department and giving them addresses or locations? I know they were going around and they were supposed to report back, or?
I didn't hear that.
Okay.
They may have.
Okay. All right.
Our typical enforcement process is to go around and confiscate.
I was told they do not confiscate, only the 210. So they were going to contact the police. That was my question that I asked Eric Robertson. He said no. They will contact the police and the police will come and confiscate. They were just patrolling and giving him area.
And then just a side note, on top of the fireworks enforcement, during that time, we had 2 stolen cars with occupied. We arrested 2 people. During this time, we went into a house on 3rd Place, southeast, and that took up a lot of time. So, I mean, it was a really busy night on top of the fireworks. And then over the weekend, I'm sure you know that we had a stabbing. And our coalition task force responded. They assisted us in processing the scene, interviewing witnesses, and suspect. So we have still 1 person in custody on that. And during that call, we had a child molest in progress came in. We freed up a couple guys. We ended up arresting the grandfather for actually molesting his grandson. So that took a lot. Anyway, it was a busy weekend. Are there any questions?
On Hanover Garberdine, you have a death investigation, was it?
Oh, it was a natural death. Not a nothing crazy.
Okay, any other questions? Councilmember Jones?
Not a question, but a statement. In the last 2 years of my street, the fireworks have gone down drastically as far as what's been set off in the past years. And then I observed a stopping of a vehicle between Algona and Pacific and Auburn in front of my house. So I sat down and watched the show, watched the proceedings, and I have to say it was very above board and well maintained, and no arguments, no issues between any of the officers or the police that the citizens they were dealing with in the vehicle. I only saw 1 of the 4 taken away, and the other 3 were let go. So that was very well done by all the officers.
That was one of the stolen vehicles referred to.
They let them take the car away. Put the hood, the convertible top on it, they drove away.
Oh, we have 2 of them in the bay.
Yeah, I don't think it was,
Okay.
the Mustang, I saw him take it away. I'm not the police, the guy that was in the car, so I'm surprised. But anyway, Officer Hahn was involved in that.
Okay. Any other questions from council? All right, thank you. Next item, public works.
Evening, Mayor and council members. Anybody's been down to Stewart Road, you'll notice that they're digging dirt down there. So Stewart Road's under construction. They're supposed to be moving poles next week. They're waiting for the poles, or this week, they're waiting for the poles to come in. And that's where we're at on Stewart Road. They're doing the pond first, so they're not going to be out holding up any traffic yet, but that will be coming. Just wanted to say that I got several compliments about the park, so I wanted to publicly let the crew know that I did personally let them know, but a lot of compliments about how clean the park was.
Good job.
So, and also the property next door. I got a compliment today from Councilmember Steiger about the property next door. So, any questions?
Questions from council? Councilmember Jones?
Curious about Valentine.
Mid-August is the start time, yeah.
We have to kick off like we did with Stewart.
I think Ted Hill is arranging that one, yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions from council? All right, thank you. Community services.